We are recording. We did it. So thank you so much for everyone who has joined already to this day 3 masterclass as part of this healing immersion, Reclaim Your Power. So I want to make a quick recap of what we have covered the last 2 days. But let me know, guys, first of all, where you're joining from. Let me know if you have been joining the previous days, how you've been finding it, if it's the first time you land here with me. Let me know if you have any questions from the previous days. Let me know how you guys are doing. But yeah, I wanted to make a quick recap of what we have covered. So the reason why I started this healing immersion and this series of masterclasses is because, as some of you know, I will be on maternity leave starting I'm due early March next year, so I'll be wrapping things up around late February. And I want to help as many people as possible before I go on maternity leave, but also while I'm away and I'm not going to be able to be here live every week like I've been doing for the last year or so. Yeah, less frequently before, but then over the last year or so, I've done a lot of weekly sessions, sometimes even twice a week, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I want to have something for you to come back to anytime you need, in case you need healing, accelerating your personal growth. So that was the idea, to have like a full step-by-step process that you can follow, that you can come back to. That's what I call the Empower method. That's what I use with my clients. That's kind of the step-by-step process that I have developed after years of training in different healing modalities, different therapies, trying different formats and different tools. So it's kind of a selection of my favorite energetic techniques, breathing techniques, meditations, exercises for self-reflection that you can do all in a step-by-step process. So wherever you are in your journey, there is something for you and you can follow that process regardless of where you are in the process. So during day 1, we did a lot of work on helping you guys connect with your vision. So the life you truly want to live, not the one that you have been conditioned to live, not the one that you have been programmed to live, not the one that others expect you to live, or the one that maybe you think is possible based on what you have been told, based on what you have experienced. But that big dream, we were talking a lot about that big dream, that big vision. Sometimes it happens that you don't know what that big dream or what that vision looks like for you, which is perfectly fine. And maybe your vision, maybe it's just to get clarity, and that's perfectly fine. And that is more than enough. Getting clarity around your vision is what you set intentions for and what you visualize. So we did a lot of work, self-reflection, journaling prompts, and kind of like more experiential ways to really connect and step into that vision. So that will be the first step of the Empower method. I always compare it to a garden. And if you think about what you want to do with your garden, the first thing you need to do is think about what you want from your garden, right? So you might visualize your garden looking like an open space where you can sunbathe and put tables to make a barbecue with friends. You might want to plant lots of fruits and veggies. You might want to make it very pretty with flowers and decoration. It will be different for each of us, right? So that's the first step. You build the vision. Now, the second step, we worked a lot on identifying the hidden blocks. So on day 1, and especially day 2, all the focus was on starting to work deeper with the subconscious mind and uncovering those hidden blocks. And by hidden blocks, I mean limiting beliefs or old beliefs that are no longer serving you, any unprocessed emotions or trauma in the body, any experiences that need healing, any recurring negative thoughts or patterns. And the more we connect with our inner world and the subconscious mind from the conscious mind, rather than trying to think about it rationally and think about if it makes logical sense or not, that's where the power of transformation lies. So we started to do some exercises to really connect with those and uncover those hidden blocks. On day 1, I shared a tapping or emotional freedom technique the basic recipe on how to do it to reduce emotional intensity, because sometimes when we connect with our dreams and we think about the life we want to live, and we might feel frustrated that that is not happening, it might bring up a lot of emotions, unprocessed emotions, unpleasant, old emotions that feel stuck in the body. So that's really great to bring the intensity down and to start kind of like clearing that, but also starting to see the root of where that comes from. So that second step will be the weeding, right? So in your garden, before you can start planting any flowers, any trees, you need to do the weeding. There might be a lot of weeds or old leaves, dirt, or dry earth that is not fruitful. There's no longer serving you, and we need to do that clearing work. So that's what we've been doing. We did partly a bit of that on day one, and yesterday, day two, that's mainly what we did. So yesterday, the focus of the work we did was on the subconscious mind. So we didn't do any, well, I don't remember if we did any journaling. Maybe I shared a few prompts just to get you started, but it wasn't about thinking about what's not working. It wasn't about trying to identify it from a conscious from the conscious mind, but it was more about experiencing it and going deep into the subconscious mind. So we started with a fire ceremony, which again is something that I share what to do just with a candle and a few small pieces of paper to set intentions to really start that process of transformation. We did some breathing as well. I taught the breathing in for 6, out for 6 breathing technique, coherent breathing that takes us into that therapeutic zone again, so we can start relaxing, coming out of fight or flight, because it's very difficult to do the healing when the stress response and the fight or flight is taking over. So we bring that intensity down, and we did a deep theta healing meditation to rewrite your narrative. So we chose one topic, one issue, one limiting belief, one sensation in the body that felt against the vision, and we worked on rewriting the narrative, working with the subconscious mind. Imagery is the language of the subconscious mind. So when we do this kind of work through visualization and in this state of relaxation, is really, really really powerful. It's really, really deep, and the brain really understands that there is change going on, because your brain doesn't understand the difference between something that is real that you are seeing in the room or something that you are imagining. So that inner work through visualization and through that inner dialogue, especially when we are in that theta brainwave state, is super powerful when it comes to transformation. So we worked on identifying the vision. We have worked on doing a lot of the weeding and clearing everything that is no longer serving us. But there is a third step that very often gets either ignored or I don't know if consciously or unconsciously by coaches or therapists, but a lot of people tend to focus on the clearing, weeding. But if all you do is weeding, yeah, you're going to have a really nice patch of grass in the garden, but nothing's going to grow. You need to plant the seeds. You need to water those seeds. They need to get light. We need to nurture. We need to maintain that garden so it keeps looking pretty the way you want it to look, right? And it's the same with those parts of ourselves. So I'm always talking about reprogramming your subconscious mind and healing the past. And that is, don't get me wrong, that is the core of the work that I do, because that's where the magic happens. Healing and transformation can't happen if you don't heal that, if you don't process unresolved experiences, if you don't let go of those limiting beliefs. But it's true that if we just stay there, we also need to give space to the parts of ourselves that carry the wisdom, the intuition, the power, all the skills, all the strengths that makes us unique, that makes every one of us here today different and unique and special and magical beings. What the shamans call the grace. When they talk about soul retrieval, and how sometimes because of trauma or painful events, a part of our soul flees because it doesn't feel like it's safe, or it doesn't feel like there is space. for her or for him within us, and it can become a bit dormant because the wounded part is more active, and because of all that energy that hasn't been processed. So soul retrieval is about bringing back those original unwounded parts of ourselves that carry all that wisdom, all that beauty, all that power, all those skills. And we need, this is work, this is active work that we need to do. This doesn't happen on its own. Of course, the more you heal the wounds, the more you clear and process the experiences, the emotions. Sometimes they come back naturally. But there is also that active work that we need to do to nurture these parts of ourselves, right? Hi, Kieran. Welcome. Welcome again. So, and that's what we're going to focus on today's session, on day 3, on bringing back those parts of ourselves that maybe were dormant, or they felt that there was no space for them. So we're going to start getting in touch with those elements of ourselves. Yeah, thank you, Kieran. It's always lovely to have you here. So this is what we have in store for today. And this is a very beautiful part of the work, because I know that sometimes the healing and, naturally past memories or past experiences are going to come to our awareness. It can be very emotional. Sometimes we can get upset processing that. Although with the techniques I use and that I have been sharing with you, it's not like when you go to talking therapy and you just talk about your problems again and again and again, and you talk about, how unlucky you were and how you experience all this all these unpleasant events. That can be quite painful. That can be quite daunting. It can feel like a kind of a heavy process, right? But with the techniques I share with you, especially with the tapping to bring the intensity down, with theta healing, where we are in that beautiful state, where we are more relaxed, more open to change, also connected with God, with the creator of all that is, where incredible levels of healing can take place. I feel it's a much more enjoyable approach and a much more joyful way of healing. But still, it can be emotional, right? And especially, if we are being exposed to really serious or traumatic events, it's not going to be the most pleasant, let's say. But it can feel emotional in a beautiful way, in a releasing way, right? So, but today is going to be, the work we're going to be doing today is going to be very empowering, very beautiful. It's going to be all about connecting with that uniqueness. And I always like to wrap it up like that in the process, to have that kind of like final touch of empowerment and what's the word I want to use? I was going to say inspiration, but it's not inspiration. It's definitely empowerment. And there is a word that I want to say, and it'll come back to me if it's important. Connection, I suppose, authenticity, connecting with that authentic self. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do try to smile a lot. And your techniques are efficient, happily. Yeah, I try. That's the thing, that what I always want to share here with you guys is things that work and that are effective. I always say I don't promise a quick fix, because I don't believe that exists. I don't believe that healing and personal transformation is a quick fix. I don't think there is a magical one for that. But what I do want to share with you is the simpler and most powerful ones, so you can start seeing results as soon as you practice them. And I do believe that there is power, incredible power, in simplicity. And sometimes the more simple techniques, like when we do breathing, like tapping, is ridiculously easy to learn and to perform on oneself. Through visualization, I know not everyone has the ability, or it doesn't come naturally, it doesn't come easily to everyone to do that kind of like inner dialogue type of work. But with a bit of practice, anyone can do it. And you don't need super sophisticated healing techniques and all that, kind of like, I don't know, all those like channeling and complex healing techniques. I do believe that there is power in simplicity, and sometimes we try to make our lives very, very complicated when actually if we go back to the basics, which is right, okay, what is not working, let's get to the root of it, let's rewrite that story and let's get on with it, let's nurture the grace or the talents. Is that simple. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy, I'm not saying that it happens like that. It is a process and it requires a bit of inner work, of course. Nothing worth having is free, but that's sometimes going back to basics is much more effective than all these complex and new techniques that some healers come up with. But that's from my experience. Anyway, we're going to get to the practical part of the session. So I'm going to, if you have pen and paper handy, by the way, that's going to be very useful because you might be getting lots of insights from this session. So if you want to take some notes, definitely better. So especially if you were here today, yesterday and the day before, if you're here today, and you haven't seen the other sessions, that's fine. But if you were here yesterday and the day before, we did a lot of work on different parts of ourselves, especially yesterday. You had a chat, hopefully, you had a chat and a dialogue, and you helped a younger part of yourself reprocess or heal an experience and rewrite the narrative. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to, and you can close your eyes for a second, and maybe let's do that all together. Let's all close our eyes for a few moments and take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Making each breath deeper and longer. Maybe taking a few exhalations through the mouth if that feels right. To start bringing the awareness to the body, to the present moment, letting go of any thoughts that might not be relevant to this masterclass, and just starting to get more in touch with yourself. And I want you to start getting in touch with that part of yourself that you worked with yesterday. And if you weren't here yesterday, I just want you to think about different parts of yourself and a part that maybe has become a bit dormant, that was wounded, that has been maybe repressed, that you haven't been giving much attention to. But a part of yourself that carries a very positive element and that is ready to come back. And if you're thinking about the part of yourself that you worked with yesterday, think about the talents, the beauty, the uniqueness, the strengths that that part of yourself holds that maybe she or he wasn't able to show because they felt that there was no space for them, because the wounded part took over. And the unprocessed emotions and the survival decisions, the disempowering decisions were taken over. And maybe more different parts of yourself might come up to the party. If they're hearing that there is space for them today, they might be like, oh, that's great. So one part of yourself might be, I don't know, your intuitive self, a part of yourself that really knows what to do next. that really knows the decisions that are good for you. Maybe another part of you is really, really strong and empowered and resilient. Maybe another part of you is very loving and caring and kind and gentle. It will be different for each one of us, of course. And I want you with each breath to really make space for them. And you can write notes if you have pen and paper handy. This is a good moment to write notes of any insights that might be coming up. Making space for them, really embracing them, letting them know that there is space for them. And ask them what they need. What do they need to flourish? What do they need to grow? What do they need to thrive? What do they need from you? How can you nurture these parts of yourself? Is there anything getting in the way for them to express themselves fully? If you have a very creative part, for example, is there anything getting in the way? What do they need from you so they can flourish, so they can thrive? So you can embrace that and become the wonderful being that you came here to be, that you all are. And I'm going to invite you to write notes of that so you don't forget about it. And I would love to hear about it in the comments. By the way, if any parts of yourself came to your awareness willing to express herself or himself, very often it can happen the different parts of ourselves can be in conflict. So there could be a very creative part of you that wants to express herself, and whether that's making things with the hands or art or singing or dancing as a profession or just as a hobby, just for full expression, might be in conflict with a part of yourself that is judgmental or that holds certain beliefs about that's ridiculous, or if it's your profession, oh, you're never going to make any money from that. So sometimes what happens is that there is a conflict in there. So then the creative part, because the other one is so loud, and so annoying, goes, okay, if people are going to laugh at me, if it's not going to, if I'm not going to get anywhere, then okay. And then it becomes dormant, and it's a shame because the full expression of yourself is made up of all those different pieces. So if any parts of yourself came up that wanted to step up and express themselves and come back in their full glory, but there was another part that was like, I would recommend that you go again through day 1 and day 2 process, especially day 2 process. And that's the idea. The different things will come up as you go along your journey. And the idea of this step-by-step process that I'm sharing with you with all these techniques and this series of masterclasses is something that you can come back to and use at any point. So I'm going to catch up with the comments, and after this, we're going to do a meditation, a theta healing meditation to connect with our higher self. And I'm gonna talk about it in a second. Hi, Ashley. Yeah, welcome back. You really hit the nail on the head for me. Suppressing a part of me that was wounded, needed healing. Yeah, we all do this. So yeah, sometimes, yeah, because it's been wounded. And the thing is that when a part of ourselves has been wounded, really, really wounded, there's no space for, for the grace, for the joy, for the creativity. There is space for survival. Right? That's the focus, that's the priority, So yeah, so we all do this. Could you explain that more, please? As I feel I've done the work now, but for some reason, maybe a cycle still blocking. Okay. And then it was during PTSD. Right, I'll come back to you in a second. Hi, Christina from the mountains of Virginia. My creative self used to do art, wants to come out more. Yeah, lovely. It has been dormant, replaced by anxiety. Yeah, so there is a conflict there. She wants to come back, she wants to create, but there is a part that holds some anxiety, some fear, and is like, mm-mm-mm. And what happens that when there is anxiety, when there is fear, creativity only flows when we are relaxed and in the flow and in our element, right? So bringing that anxiety through the tapping process that we did, and then tracking it to the root of where that anxiety comes from with the exercises we did yesterday is something that you can do more of. And then ask your creative part, what do you need from me? Do you need me to, I don't know, and she might say something like, but just give me some time, give me 30 minutes a day so I can express myself, so I can paint, so I can dance, so I can crochet, I don't know, whatever that is. Or I need, sometimes I recommend that when we're working with bringing, with soul retrieval, bringing back parts of ourselves, to have like a plant that you can nurture, that you can water, that represents that part of yourself, or an object at home that you can look at, or that you can connect with, to really bring the energy, because where we put an awareness, the energy follows. So if we are doing that, or through a fire ceremony, for example, like we did yesterday, setting intentions, right? If we put the awareness on that, the energy is going to follow, and then that part that has been dormant becomes more energized. Money saying, this morning I woke up here in America feeling dread, and this brought up some vulnerable feelings. Yeah. You will see that in the meditation that we're going to do in a second, you might get some guidance for that. Espa saying, same here, not much of creativity. Yeah, because when there are other parts of ourselves that I visualize them like having a microphone, right? And being really, really, really loud. And our creativity and our loving, caring, intuitive self having a very low volume and trying to fight and being like, I want to say something. And the other one having a microphone and saying, no, but you shouldn't. No, don't believe in yourself. And, like being very loud and having that conflict. So this work is a lot about passing on that microphone, about saying, right, okay, maybe we don't need these beliefs anymore. Maybe we don't need these negative thoughts anymore. How can we rewrite them so we can give more space to those other parts of ourselves? So Ashley, coming back to your question about suppressing a part of ourselves that is wounded and that needs healing, you might enjoy reading about internal family systems, because there is a lot of inner part work, so parts of ourselves that come into conflict. And it's kind of like, if you think about the board, the committee that directs your life, right, your mindset, and we all have different parts of ourselves with different qualities. So internal family systems, there is a lot of talking to those parts of yourself and getting them to come to an agreement. The concept of soul retrieval, like I said at the beginning, is the idea that when we experience trauma, and by trauma, I mean it could be a big T, like a capital letter T trauma. So abuse, an accident, domestic violence, something like really, really traumatic, really, really strong, with a very strong emotional charge. Or it could be multi-traumas. We talked about it, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. Multi-traumas being your parents ignoring you when you came back from school, your teacher giving you negative feedback about an exam at school, your friends laughing at you when you were about to perform or when you came up with a creative idea, someone breaking your heart, your school love breaking your heart, who hasn't been through an experience like that. And then you learn about love and that it hurts and and all of this. So it can be whether that's big T traumas or small T traumas, they leave an imprint in ourselves. If we heal it properly, then it doesn't need to leave an imprint. It doesn't need to leave a limiting belief or any unprocessed emotions. Now, the reality is that if you grew up in a very empowering, nurturing, supportive environment, if your parents were very aware of how to help you process your emotions, if you received a really good emotional education and you were able to process all these events, then maybe you don't hold many limiting beliefs or disempowering decisions or fear or anxiety in the body. But the reality is that very few people are exposed to families like that, because our parents, bless them, they try their best, but they were probably dealing with their own traumas and with their own problems, right? And so there are always events and experiences that we don't process properly, and that gets stored in the body. And that might get stored in the body in the form of an emotion that hasn't been processed properly. So you might feel that when you're exposed to certain situations, you get triggered. There is an emotion that gets triggered because it hasn't been healed, because it hasn't been processed properly. It's like stuck somewhere in the energy body. And alongside with it, then we have different parts of ourselves that if they have been wounded and if they have experienced trauma, to survive the traumatic event, whether that's big or small, to survive the traumatic event, we make decisions. And very often when there is trauma, they are based on survival. They are not based on creativity. They are not based on what is in our highest interest. They are based on survival, and especially when we are young, because all these limiting beliefs and all this self-narrative, the stories we tell ourselves, all these parts of ourselves that live within us, developed especially between the age of 0 and 6 to 7, because our subconscious mind is super active and we are like a sponge, absorbing, making decisions. So based on survival, sometimes we make disempowering decisions. Like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, abundance is never going to be possible for me, love hurts, you name it. Many of these beliefs, we make these decisions to survive the trauma, big or small. And if we don't process that properly, if we don't heal that properly, that story keeps growing within us. A part of ourselves holds that story, hasn't let go of that story. And then the original unwounded part of ourselves that holds the wisdom, the intuition, the power, the creativity, becomes more and more dormant, because the instinct of the human being is always going to be to survive. Obviously, there are many things we can do to connect with our higher consciousness, but instinctively we are, and especially when there is trauma, when there is pain, we are going to try to survive. And sometimes there is no space for those parts of ourselves. And that's when the shamans talk about soul retrieval, they say they flee, those parts of ourselves flee, because it's either too painful to stay, there is no space for them, so they become dormant. And sometimes you can feel it as a part of you that it's kind of like maybe crawling up and feeling small, as we heal those parts of ourselves, then there's more space for that, what they call the grace. And I was talking about matrix reimprinting yesterday. It will be a similar idea. It's about rewriting the narrative. So instead of having that part of ourselves that is wounded, instead of that being what we hold, what we carry, where the energy is, we rewrite the narrative so that part can get in touch with their talents. And we can see that from a different and more empowering perspective. So we did a lot of that yesterday. And a lot of what we did, a bit of what we did just now was about starting to get in touch with those parts of ourselves. Now, the thing is that you can give energy to your creativity, for example, and pass the microphone to her for a little while. But if the anxiety or the inner critic or the fear or the messages from your parents, it's still very loud, it's just going to be like a massive argument. It's just going to be like a bigger conflict. So it's going to go from, right, so it was dormant before, now it wants to be active, but because there is this part here that we haven't dealt with, they're just in conflict all the time, and that's really tiring. And I have experienced that, for example, when I started my own business and working for myself, that was a huge conflict for me. The part of me that was really scared and terrified and programmed to work in the corporate world and have a stable job. And then this part of me that wanted to do something different, that wanted to do something purposeful and meaningful, became more and more active. So it was getting more energy, but because this part was so strong, it was an eternal conflict and it was so draining. And it was only when I dealt with this part that carried the limiting beliefs and the old stories, the old programming, that this could actually flourish and become present. So yeah, this is kind of another way of expressing what we've been working on the last couple of days, but I hope that helped, or maybe help you see it with a different perspective. Love the ideology of the personal committee. Yeah, definitely a committee of different characters. Soul retrieval, a lot of value information there. We'll sit down with this. Yeah, there is a lot to explore. I feel the PTSD has needed me to cleanse internally, to cleanse everything. It's been quite a journey, chronically painful at times. Yeah, it can be it can be painful to get in touch with it. I always say, guys, this work is not easy. You guys are brave to be willing to do this work, because this is not for everyone. I know that sometimes someone will come to a free discovery session to work with me, and when I say the approach and what we're going to do, they say, no, but I only want the sessions to be forward looking. I don't want to dwell in the past. And yeah, we're not going to dwell in the past as in, right, tell me your terrible story again. Let's go through this pain again. It's not about that, but we need to really hit the root of that committee of characters. Where are they coming from? They're not random, right? But if we don't go to the root, transformation is never going to happen. Healing is never going to happen. You're never going to thrive. You're never going to be able to step into your vision. So it's not for everyone. I know for a lot of people, it can be scary. And I know that unfortunately, because of the approach of, some talking therapies and maybe some of the healing modalities that can make it very intense and painful, people are a bit reluctant to go there. But I do believe from experience, it is the only way. It is the only way. It is going back to basics, like I was saying before. It's simple. It's going back to basics, but it's what really works. So we're gonna get to the meditation. Oh, before I get started. Oh, Lisbeth, thank you so much. What a generous donation. Thank you so much, guys. And there were quite a few donations at the end of the session yesterday. So I replied to all of you. So thank you so much, guys. Very welcome and very much appreciated. You're amazing. Oh, thank you, Esther, my love. Thank you so much. So the Theta Healing meditation we're going to do now is to connect with our higher self. And this So we've been talking about different parts of ourselves, what makes us unique, our strength, our qualities, our talent, that everything that makes us unique, right? But there is an aspect of ourselves that, for me, has really changed my life in terms of how I make decisions and how I flow with life. And that is our higher self. So when I say higher self, I mean soul as well. I would use those words. Maybe some people have a different opinion or use the words differently. For me, our soul, our higher self is, I use them interchangeably, is the same concept, is that higher dimensional part of ourselves. So when we come here to this world, we come here with a mission, with something to do. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard about the idea of incarnations or reincarnations, and how we come here again and again. Is that kind of like, yeah, higher dimensional, luminous parts of ourselves that carry all the essence, all the information. And you know how maybe sometimes you feel like when you're doing healing, something will come from the past, I think from this lifetime, but sometimes there is something that feels older, something even generational, or yeah, or maybe you feel that you have been a different gender in a different lifetime, or a complete different, I don't know, from a complete different country or social group, or whatever. How do you know, Jay? Do I claim to have the absolute truth? I don't. I don't. Um, the thing is that for me, it doesn't really matter. I don't claim to have the absolute truth. I don't have all the answers. What I have is my experience and what I have learned. The thing is that for me, in terms of the how I help people heal and grow, it doesn't make a difference to me if they believe in past lives or not. It doesn't make a difference if it actually happened or not. I really don't care. I've done work for myself, and this I can talk from my personal experience, where I have felt that when I was doing matrix imprinting, for example, I was talking to a part of myself that wasn't from this lifetime. There was either kind of like an ancestor or me, like many generations ago. For me, it doesn't matter if it happened or not, if I was that person or not, if I experienced that event or not. If it's a story that lives within me, it needs healing. So some people will argue and you say, you're talking nonsense, past lives don't exist. Okay. Some people will say, yeah, definitely yes. Definitely yes. There's evidence, and as they say, in past life regression, children talking about past lives. How do you know for sure? I don't. But that's the thing, that for me, the way I would go about it, working with someone, will be the exact same way. If that is a story that, because like we were saying yesterday, what matters is not the events, it's the story that lives within us, the narrative we tell ourselves. And if I have a story living within myself that I was, for example, I think this was after a war or during the war, and there was a lot of anxiety and uncertainty and wanting to control everything. If this is how my mind is perceiving it, I really don't care much if it really happened or not. I don't need to argue with someone to tell me, that's bollocks. I don't need to argue. I know that lives within me. I'm going to heal it. And that's it. So that's what I think that it's important, not to get caught in the who's right or who's wrong, but what do you do about it? So I would address it in the same way. And sometimes, like Espe saying, ancestors play a part. Sometimes we inherit beliefs and trauma. It gets coded within us, right? So there is a lot that we can do with that. I definitely feel what I definitely believe with all my heart, and I feel it with every cell of my body, is that we are not just physical beings, that we are not just flesh and bones. This is a vehicle, this body, this flesh and bones is a vehicle, but there is a higher part of me, a higher dimensional part of me, my soul, that knows much more than I do. The holds all my, and I always making this sign because for me, I see like towards this direction here. The knows all the answer. It's like an eagle hovering and like seeing all the details, but also seeing things with perspective. So the higher self or the soul sees the journey of you, whether that's in different lives, whether that's something that you were carrying from before, from your ancestors before you were born, whether that's from this lifetime. It's your mission. I do believe that we are much more than just this 3D body. And that also holds a purpose. And I've done long sessions on purpose because this could be like a long session on its own. But the idea of purpose doesn't necessarily need to be that you have to change the world. And I talk a lot about this. It doesn't need to be a big project. It doesn't need to be a big mission. It doesn't need to impact millions of people. For some people it is, but not for everyone. Your purpose could be learning a lesson. Your purpose could be bringing kindness to your neighborhood. Your purpose could be related to your career. It could be related to your family. It could be about speaking your truth. It could be about teaching others. It could be about more of a personal journey. It could be anything and everything. And I have felt that when I am in touch with that part of ourselves, with myself, life really flows. So rather than following just the logical mind is very useful when we're trying to think about next steps and the practical, day-to-day living. It can be very useful. Those analytical skills can be really useful. But when it comes to making decisions and when it comes to the important, like the big stuff, the things that matter, listening to that intuition, to that higher self, to our soul, some people feel it more that it comes from the heart, and again, we will perceive this information differently because we're all different. Has literally changed my life because that part of ourselves has information that we don't from here, from this, like kind of like 3D physical plane. And I can give you an example before all the lockdowns started, before COVID and all that madness and all that. I was living in central London and all my life was there. And I loved living in London. But I had a very strong feeling that I had to leave central London. So we moved to a residential area, to a much bigger place with nice gardens. It didn't make any sense to me because we didn't know anyone there. It was not for work or for friends or, and nothing was happening. There were no signs to expect, the madness we went through and all the restrictions and all the lockdowns and everything. There was no way to predict that. There was no way to expect that. But there was something inside me saying, you need to get out of here. And I was really worried for a bit of time because I was thinking, because he kept saying, yeah, when eventually when we found that flat, he kept telling me, you're going to be safe. You're going to be threatened. I was like, but safe from what? What's going to happen? So it was a very strong intuitive message that logically didn't make any sense. And I'm so glad I followed it because otherwise I would have been stuck in a tiny flat in central London throughout all those years of madness when we were in a more spacious flat with communal gardens. We could literally jump into the Thames from the garden. It was really, really beautiful. It was gorgeous. So I didn't suffer that much. I didn't have such a negative experience like other people did, for example. Not to say that it wasn't a shock because God was that a big awakening. One that I wouldn't change for the world, I have to say as well, because it opened my eyes to so many things. But yeah, but that's the idea that sometimes we have, and I'm sure you have experienced this urge in a way or another. Call it gut feeling, call it your heart speaking, an inner voice, a dream sometimes, or maybe if you're saying a prayer, like divine guidance. I'm sure you have experienced that. And very often we tend to ignore it. And we're like, that doesn't make much sense, does it? But when you listen to that is when you're really, really, really connected with your absolute essence, with who you truly are, with a part of you that has an enormous amount of wisdom and guidance. And then you don't need to rely on other people making decisions for you, or going to a tarot reader, or following a guru to tell you what to do and what not to do. That you can be in touch with your own higher guidance, which is probably the most powerful and the most invaluable probably thing that I have found in my life. I have we're going to do a meditation for that in a second, but yeah, this is a topic that I could go on for hours and hours. So and I have some specific uh meditations for this that you can do on your own. So yeah, so drop me a message if this topic is of interest, because I can share lots of resources with you. um Does journaling alone help connect to your higher self? Definitely, yeah. Especially if you do it like kind of like automatic writing, because handwriting engages a different part of the brain. So again, it takes us out of the conscious mind and the logical mind. So yeah, very often when I sit in meditation and I'm trying to connect with my higher self, and I do these exercises and I'm trying to feel the connection, I always have pen and paper handy, because yeah, those insights, and sometimes, especially if you write, not thinking about what you're writing, but just seeing what comes out, can be very useful. Yeah, we are our own saviors. Yeah, no one's gonna no one's gonna come to save us, that's for sure. Yeah, there are no guru that has all the answers. There is no expert that has all the knowledge. There is no one who has the absolute truth. Like you need to really, and especially in this world of deception and lies, you need to really, if you learn how to use this skill, it's invaluable. um okay, Diana, send me a message, please, in the platform or through the website, and I will send you some articles, and anyone else who wants to know more. Almost an hour, and we haven't started the long meditation that we're going to do. So yeah, it's going to be another. I said, I think this session today is going to be shorter, but then I can talk, guys. You know me, so right, okay. But now I'm going to ask you to make yourself comfortable. You can sit down or lie down for this one. The more you relax, the better. What I would recommend is that you turn off your notifications if you're next to your phone. If make sure that no one is gonna disturb you. I'm just gonna get my phone because I want to play some music like yesterday. Hold on a second. And hopefully that will help you relax and get in the mood as well. Although I'm never sure if you can actually hear it much. Oh, thank you, Sarah, for your donation. Thank you so much. Barbara, drop me a message so I can, because from here I can copy your names and I can't contact you. So drop me a message on here or through my website, and I will be happy to send you some resources. It sounds like I have to do another session on this topic and just go like properly deep if people are interested. So yeah. Okay, my loves. So time to chill, time to go within, time to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Starting to let go of any thoughts that are not relevant to this session. Letting go of any expectations. With each breath, you're bringing your awareness more and more within. If any thoughts come up, that's fine. Just let them come and go like clouds in the sky, like clouds disappearing in the sky. Coming back to your breath to anchor your awareness. And starting to go within, becoming aware of any sensations, any emotions, any ideas that might be coming up for you today. Again, not engaging, not reacting, just becoming an observer. Detaching yourself from any reactions. Making each breath a bit deeper and a bit longer. And allowing the body to relax more and more and more as each breath becomes deeper and longer. We're letting the body know that it is safe to be here, that it is safe to relax, that it is safe to come out of that stress response, that fight flight mode. Starting to connect to that feeling of elevating yourself, of becoming detached from the stories, the roles, the narrative, from the programming, from the past. Starting to really step into that more elevated part of yourself. And now visualize a torrent of pure white light coming all the way from the center of the earth, coming all the way towards your feet, anchoring you through cords of light or roots of white light. And allowing this pure white light to come up through the legs, up through the spine, opening up and energizing all the energy centers, the chakras, the energy meridians. Allowing this beautiful pure energy to come up all the way to the top of your head. And here it forms a bubble of white light. And you step into this bubble of white light. And taking a deep breath, you start to elevate yourself and you allow this vehicle to take you up, 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 higher and higher. Out of the room you're in, out of the building, the space you're in. Coming up, up, up through the clouds, through the sky, feeling lighter and lighter with each breath, feeling more and more energy, less and less matter. Coming up, 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 up. Out of the earth now and into the star galaxy. Going through different layers of the universe, seeing different stars, different constellations. Becoming lighter and lighter with each breath. Elevating yourself more and more and more. When you think you can't go any higher than this, take another deep breath and elevate yourself a bit more. Until you reach a place where everything is pure white light. very bright light, but it is a very pleasant experience. The energy here is of unconditional love. And you can feel the tingling, this pure high frequency energy against your energy body. Here we are one with God, with the creator of all that is. And just being here is healing, receiving and connecting with this energy of unconditional love. And having this sense of connectedness to God, to the universe, to one another. We are all connected through this field of white light, through this field of energy. And here, all the potentials are possible. Everything is possible. From here, we can create, we can heal, we can change. We are really powerful beings. And we're going to start by asking God, the creator of all that is, to send a torrent of healing energy and unconditional love to each person doing the meditation here or watching the recording. And just allow to receive it, to enter the top of your head, to enter the body through the top of the head. And like a shower of light, let this healing energy from God, from the creator of all that is, to cleanse, to heal, to transmute anything that is no longer serving you, any old stories, any repressed emotions, any unprocessed events, any parts of you that need healing. And like a shower of light, let it wash it away. All that is no longer serving you. Let it all of that be flushed out through the feet, transmuted into unconditional love and sent back to the light of God. And if there are any specific parts of the body or any parts of yourself that need special attention today, feel free to direct this healing energy towards them. Feeling lighter and lighter as you let go of the old. You might feel your energy field that becomes brighter, stronger, bigger, more energized. Maybe a sense of peace. Just be a witness, no expectations. You're just an observer, a witness. Beautiful. And now bring the awareness to that field of white light, to that energy of unconditional love, to that brightness, that beautiful energy. You see that in front of you, a luminous being appears. A luminous being that looks a lot like you. You in your purest essence. the highest version of yourself, your soul, the whole, your essence, all the wisdom, all the information, everything that makes you unique in its purest form, in its highest frequency form. And for now, just have a look at her or him. And as you approach them slowly, ask them any questions that you might have if you need guidance around a particular topic. What do you need to do more of? What do you need to do less of? Any advice or guidance that they might have for you today, anything that you need to know today, anything that you need to hear today. And just allow this communication, this dialogue to flow. If you're not receiving any messages, that's totally fine. You might just want to perceive the energy and just share that space, being in their presence. And just set the intention that you will receive the guidance whenever feels right for you. You just allow that communication and that connection to flow. Beautiful. And I want you to get closer and closer to your higher self, to your soul, and really become one with it. This is who you truly are. This is your essence. This is you in your purest form. And just embracing that energy, any qualities that might be coming to your awareness, any sensations, maybe the tingling, becoming one with it. And letting every part of your body, every cell in your body, every atom, every particle of energy in your body absorb this frequency, this energy, this vibration, this purity. This is who you truly are. It's always been. And slowly bringing your awareness to the field of white light where we started this healing, this connection with your higher self. Taking a deep breath. It's time to say goodbye. Maybe thank your higher self for the guidance, for the connection, for the energy. And it's time to start making your way back down the same way you came up here to the star galaxy, seeing all those stars, constellations, dimensions. But this time you feel that there is a golden cable attached from your higher self to your heart. And as you come down, 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 back to the earth and through the clouds, through the sky, you feel that you're still connected to your higher self through this golden energetic cable. Coming down, down, down to the building you're in, to the room you're in, and finally landing back in the physical body. And when you land in your physical body, you feel like you're so much more connected to your soul, to your purpose, to your higher self. It's part of you, it's still you. And with each breath, you can strengthen this connection. And you can communicate with your higher self anytime you need. For now, let's bring the awareness to our feet and let's take a few moments to ground. Very important after we do theta healing, to really feel the feet connected to the ground and bringing the awareness again to those cords of white light or roots of white light connecting you deeply into Mother Earth, all the way to the center of the earth, anchoring the healing, anchoring the messages, anchoring this connection in the 3D plane, in the physical reality, in the physical body. And slowly starting to make any movements that might feel right to the body. Whether that's slowly and gently wiggling your fingers, your toes, or maybe taking a full body stretch, deep stretch, whatever feels right for you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, meet me back in the screen. Or if you feel like it's flowing, you can remain in this state of relaxation and connection for a bit longer. If you're still receiving guidance, feel free to do that for as long as it feels right. I'm going to turn off the music now. And of course, if you have pen and paper handy, this might be a good moment to write down all those insights, all of these ideas that you got up there. And if you didn't, don't think that it didn't work for you. Don't think that you did anything wrong or that you don't know how to do it, because we all perceive information in a different way and we all perceive energy in a different way. And our intuition works in a very different way. So some people are very visual. Some people hear lots of messages. Some people are more about the sensations and the energy. Some people don't perceive much, especially if you're very in your head and you can't get out of your head. That might be the case for you. But while you do this work, you might find that one, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And also, it could be that maybe you don't perceive anything in the moment, but then in your normal life, you suddenly see a sign, or there is a synchronicity, or sometimes there is like an inner voice or a gut feeling. Listen to those. Don't ignore them. Listen to those always, 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 always. So yeah, it doesn't mean that if you didn't see anything or if you didn't perceive anything that it didn't work, or the connection didn't work. It might just need a bit more practice, or you might just need to receive it in a different way. But trust me, if you do that work and you set the intention, then later, maybe during the day when you're not thinking about it, you might start seeing some signs, synchronicities. So yeah, pay attention to that. And especially like we did yesterday with the fire ceremony about setting intentions. If you're asking for guidance, once you ask, you will receive. Now it's a matter of, are your ears open? Are your eyes open? Because very often we ask for guidance, but then it's very clear, but we don't want to see it. Or then a part of ourselves is critical or judgmental. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, pay attention. Pay attention to that. Especially saying I will go through the recordings again to do the work in depth. Yeah, absolutely. So keep in mind, guys, that these 3 days I've been sharing so many techniques, so many ideas, so many tools. And I'm sure that even if you were on it from the beginning to the very end, you didn't make the most of it because especially the questions for self-reflection, maybe the breathing technique, the fire ceremony, these meditations, you would need a bit longer to to take your time to think about it, to sit down and meditate on it, or to do it a few times to allow more time in between techniques to integrate and digest. Like I said, this work is not for everyone because I know it's really deep. And I know it takes commitment. And I can remember, I think it was on day 1 when I was talking about the law of attraction and the key elements of the law of attraction and how this is not a quick fix. And we need to work on, the weeding and then the connection with the other parts of ourselves. And that requires time, requires nurturing, it requires energy. So it's not a quick fix, but it's definitely, and it's deep. So I know that this is not for everyone, and not everyone has the courage to do this work. So for every one of you who is here today or watching the recording or was here yesterday or the day before, well done. Well done, because I know I took you on a deep journey, quite intense, maybe at points. But yeah, I always say that I don't promise a quick fix. You will never hear me talking about magical manifestation techniques. And if you do this, all your problems are going to be solved. And if you do this, you're going to manifest money in your bank account tomorrow. And, or if you do this, or if you do a healing session with me, I have a magic wand and I'm going to clear all your karmic imprints and all your suppressed emotions and all of that. Never, you would never hear me saying that. But what I do promise is the techniques I share with you, and that was the whole point of this healing immersion, of these 3 masterclasses. What I promise is that if you are consistent, if you put the working using these techniques and these tools, you will see results. But of course, it requires commitment, like anything in life, right? Like if you want to lose weight or be fit and look good, it's not enough going to the gym once. If you go to the gym once, yeah, it's better than going none. But by going to the gym once, you're not going to get super fit or super strong or super flexible. If you eat healthily one day, it's much better. It's much better than eating junk food every day. But just by eating healthily one day is not gonna fix all your health problems. It's not gonna to improve your gut, your energy level. It's I always say that healing and personal growth is kind of a way of living. So it's something that you need to practice. It's not, sometimes people especially when I talk about more the energy healing side of things, some people come say, "Oh, can you heal me? Can you clear this for me?" Well, I don't have a magic wand, and 2, I don't think that's how it works. You can have a healer or a therapist to to facilitate and to lead the healing. And to be honest, there are some more hands-on, healing techniques that are very powerful and that really work. But it's never when the client takes this passive approach, as in, right, I just come here, do something for me, and then all my problems are going to be fixed. But I know that if you landed here, and if you resonate with the work I do, it's because you're not like that. And you know that it's all about the journey and having that consistency. Are the previous sessions saved on your site? They're on my YouTube channel. I uploaded them already, the 2 videos. This one, let's pray to God all together that it's recorded properly, because it gave me a funny message at the beginning with the microphone. I tested it, and I think, it's making it sound like it's detecting my voice, but I think it's through a different microphone. So fingers crossed that I didn't lose this session, because maybe it's bad of me to say this, but I think it's been really good. And we've done some cool things here, and we definitely have some interesting discussions here that I would hate to lose. So yeah, it will be uploaded as well. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Espe. Thank you for being here, for your kind words, for sharing your experiences. Your donation has been a pleasure to have you here. And all of you who have been here with me, whether that's today, the previous days, or if you just joined, and you will be catching up with the recording. So yeah, so thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, I know we've covered a lot. So if you have any questions, if there are any insights that you would like to share, I would love to hear from you in the comments. So we're gonna be wrapping up now. To recap a little bit of what we have discussed today, and in terms of things that you can put into practice, I would definitely recommend that you do the meditation again. And that's why I'm recording them, so you can come back to them and do them as many times as you need. The beauty of this is that if you did this meditation 20 times, you will get a different experience 20 times. You will get 20 different experiences. You might get 20 different messages from your higher self. Sometimes there is a common pattern, and then that's a very clear message that you need to focus on something. So that can also happen. But yeah, you might want to ask for guidance on different topics each time. So that's the idea, that you can come back to it all the time. You don't need to do the recorded meditation. I think it facilitates going into that theta brainwave, into that relaxed meditative state. But you don't need to. You can also visualize, in the morning and or in the evening, connecting with that golden cable, with each breath, energizing it, strengthening the connection with your higher self. Now, what I would say is that for this to work, the more healing you do, so the more weeding you do, the easier it becomes to have this connection. Because if you think about it, if you think about your soul or your higher self as the highest frequency version of you, like the purest, luminous version of yourself, and if you think about bringing down that information, and if I think about myself as a vessel, if I think about my body like a vehicle that is here, but in order to be connected, I have to become a vessel for it, right? Obviously, the cleaner, the clearer, the more transparent, the purer that vessel is, the easier it's gonna be to connect with a higher frequency, a higher dimensional part of ourselves, right? If we are holding a lot of trauma or suppressed emotions, if we are holding a lot of all those stories, the baggage, toxins in the body. I haven't covered physical health here, physical health here, because it's not my expertise. But I have experienced in the past that my diet has a huge impact on my spirituality, on my spiritual connection. Huge, huge. So heavy meals, heavy food, processed food, junk food, toxins, it clouds that vessel. Think about it. If you think about yourself as a vessel wanting to resonate with something that is pure, that is luminous, that is super high frequency, and you eat crap all the time, it's not in resonance. It clouds your vision, your senses. So a lot of, and again, don't take this advice as in to you personally, this is just from my experience, but fasting is something that has worked with me in terms of cleansing my body and helping me develop that connection. For a few years, I had a veggie/vegan diet, which again helped me cleanse a lot. I went back to eating meat because I felt that my body was needing it. And definitely now that I'm pregnant, I feel like I need to eat more substantial food. So different periods of my life, I also adjust my lifestyle, my diet, what I eat, what the type of exercise I do, the type of morning routine that I do. So when I was focused on developing myself and my spirituality, I felt like eating lighter and fasting and cleansing and detoxing and all of this. These days, I feel like eating all the time. And if my body, if that, I mean, it makes sense. I'm growing, I'm cooking something here, right? So it needs a bit of an extra boost. So also listen to your body in terms of your lifestyle, your nutrition, your habits, what you do first thing in the morning, the water you drink can have such power, right? So yeah, like I'm not going to go into details because this is not my area of expertise, but it is a big factor. Scottish water. Thank you, Diana, for your donation. Thank you so much and for coming to the sessions. I think you definitely were here yesterday and I think in day one as well. Jay, you too. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So we're gonna wrap up now. In terms of what's coming next, if anyone feels like they resonate with the work I do, and if you wanted to work deeper on a one-on-one basis, normally my main offering is a 3-month one-on-one healing coaching program, which if you want to do, you need to let me know ASAP and start next week or pretty much next week or the week after at the latest, because I'm going to be on maternity leave from late February and it's 3 months, but with the Christmas break, there are always a few weeks when we might not have that weekly session. So yeah, I'm enrolling the last few people to start next week. So you can book a discovery session with me, have a chat with me. If you have any questions, I always love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out. And after that, I won't be offering it anymore until, probably 2026, because I'm going to be away most of next year doing other work, not working, but doing other work. So let me know if you would like to have a chat about it. If you check my profile, you can see, of course, all the different healing disciplines that I use. I've explained some of them during these 3 days, but you will have more information, more articles, more blogs, lots of videos, lots of meditations here on Insight Timer, different courses here on Insight Timer that you can take. So yeah, so like I said at the beginning, reach out to me, and I always say in every session, reach out if you're facing any particular challenges, if you have any questions, because I have so many resources that I can point you towards, or just feel free to browse in my channels and here and see what I have. So thank you so much for being here and for being part of this. This is only possible because of you guys, because of you wonderful people. I don't have any other live events scheduled for now. I will do more. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to come back to Inside Timer and doing live events. I don't have anything for next week. I might go back to, maybe shorter sessions, like once a week or something like that. But with this, I wanted to give you like a proper, like step-by-step process that you can follow, that you can come back to anytime. So yeah, if there are any topics in particular that you would like me to cover, I'm still gonna do some live sessions before I go, that's for sure. So let me know what you would want me to talk about. I absolutely love coming here and be with you guys. So it's my absolute pleasure. So yeah, any ideas are always welcome. And I listen to your ideas. I promise that when people suggest a topic, if I can cover it, if I think that I can cover it, I will definitely do. So I don't want to go because I love being here too much with you guys, but I'll be back soon. And yeah, like I said, be in touch. If you have any questions, go and see my meditations, my courses. You can subscribe to my list as well to be updated of upcoming events and news and all that. And yeah, I'm hoping you enjoyed and got something from these sessions. I also love to hear from you about that when you share lovely reviews on my tracks and positive feedback. Who doesn't, right? So yeah, so thank you so much because you guys have always really kind words to say, and it lights up my heart. So thank you so much for that, for being here, for your donations. Very welcome and very much appreciated. So I'm sending much love and light to you all, wishing you a wonderful rest of your day. And if you haven't already, feel free to follow me on Inside Timer so you can be notified of when I'm gonna come next to a live session, and hopefully I will see you there. Okay, my loves, sending a big hug. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.